Normally, when I come out, you guys, some of you know, I come out with the music, and it really helps set the tone. But Altspace is taking away slides. We are working on a new solution where we're going to get all of that stuff back, but it's going to take a little bit of time to pull that off. So hopefully, maybe in about a week or so, we'll have everything going back to normal. In the meantime, we're going to work with what we got because it's the whole show must go on thing. Now, for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Now, before we get going, if I can ask you guys not to send me any text messages during this event, I'd really appreciate it. Because when you're moving around doing the whole hosting thing, right, and all of a sudden you get this, text message. It's like hitting a wall. It can really throw you off. It's not a lot of fun. So if you can save all these comments or anything like that until the end, we'd appreciate that. Or even better, join our Discord. It's really the best way to reach us. Also, if I can draw your attention to your menu wheel on the lower left, a collection of circles down there. At the very top of that, you're going to notice a microphone icon. Now, when that's red, that means you're muted. So if somebody comes into your space and says, "Hey, are you still on that thing?" Feel free to answer them because we're not going to hear any of that. Likewise, if maybe you have a barking dog in the background, you're not going to face social ruin by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time, right? Now, just because you're muted, it does not mean you can't express yourself. You are going to notice there's a pink cheek smiley face in that menu wheel, and when you click on it, you're going to see in front of you appears a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. So if, for example, I'm up here and I share something really deep, something powerful, and it touches you, or starts to build up inside, you can just let it out. Just let it flow just like that. Right? Maybe I got some backup dancers backstage, right? And, they all start breaking into It's Quest Time, the musical. And, well, you're all very impressed with the production value. You can throw up the applause I live for, but then I take a minute to drink it all in because it feels good. All right. Now, also, if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling like this. You can say no by frowning like that. Or if I say or do something funny, you want to show me that you're laughing, you can do the silly face emoji just like that. And then there's this thing. This is by far the most distracting of all the emojis, okay? And we're not going to use this to ask a question. We're going to be taking questions and comments at the end of this event. But if something goes wrong, like I'm up here and I'm moving my hands around, you're like, wow, this guy's really into it, but there's absolutely no sound. That's the kind of thing I'm going to want to know about. Or maybe my moderators have had enough. They've seen It's Quest Time one too many times, and they're really upset that the slides are gone, for a couple weeks. So they're going to act out and they're going to set what's left of my display on fire. Really finish the job. If that should happen, I'm going to want to know about it, and that's how you'll signal me. You let me know something's going wrong by doing this. If I see just one of them go up, I'm probably going to keep on going. But if I see three of them going up at a time, I know there's a problem I'm going to need to address, right? Like if my voice gets choppy or something. Now, you can press the X in the middle of the emoji panel to close it. However, it's a good idea to leave it open during events like this because it gives me some feedback. It lets me know how I'm doing. But more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if somebody next to you starts going like this, right, that means they think something's funny, and you may not agree. You might be like, that's not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can do that. This is a VR. Except you can't stand over here because we agreed to stay off the stage, right? Part of our sacred bond. That's part of our pact. Right, you're not going to do that? All right, very cool. All right, now Quest Time is an event for Oculus Quest users, but all are welcome. So if you're on another device, feel free to hang out. You may pick up some useful information that's going to help our growing Quest community because there's new Quest users arriving in Altspace each and every day, and soon their numbers will be so large we'll take over the campfire itself. But in order to do that, you're going to require training. You're going to know how to move. You're going to have to know the ins and outs, what it's like to be on a Quest in Altspace, and that's kind of why we're here, and that's what we're doing here today. But when I was waiting for my Quest to arrive, back then, well, actually, let me get some idea of how to set up. We've got a small crowd today. Let me just see some emojis. Are there any new Quest users here today? If you're on a new Quest, show me some hearts, show me some love. We'll put your hands up if you're on the Quest. All right? If you're on the Quest, hands up. All right, or there you go. All right, cool. All right, and you're a new Quest user. I just heard from Alina Beth. She's a new Quest user. Any new Altspace users? Have any new Altspace users here today? All right. Right, you've been around for a while. All right, no, so just Alina. All right, that's cool. All right, so we got some, seasoned people here today. All right, that's cool. Well, when I was waiting for my Quest to arrive, I was on an Oculus Go at the time. Now, I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm used to talking with my hands a lot. It's a big part of how I communicate. Back then, I was on an Oculus Go, and that only has one controller. So while I was in Altspace, all anybody saw me was doing this. And so I couldn't wait for that new controller to arrive so that I'd have that other hand. So I'd, be a lot more convincing in my body language. Body language is a pretty big deal in Altspace. You can really convey a lot without actually saying anything at all. And when I was waiting for that to arrive, I got to get my pointer out here because we're going to need that. I took a little look at the controls, and I was like, you know what? These are a lot of buttons. There really are. There's a lot of buttons on the Quest to keep track of, and I like to go over them this way everyone has a good idea and can skill up, as we learn how to use our Quest in Altspace. The first part we're going to talk about is this grip button on the side of the controller, on the right and the left controller. This side button is how you're going to interact with your environment. This is like when you're building worlds. If you have the world beta program enabled through your main menu by going to settings, general, and enabling world beta, this will enable you to build worlds in Altspace. And you'll be able to do that with your own two hands, right? And you'll be able to use the grip button on either hand to really interact with the objects. But when you're holding an object, it's going to change the behavior of this right thumbstick here. When you move that thumbstick right or left while you're holding an object in the world builder, it's going to make the object larger. If you move that thumbstick up or down, it's going to push the object away, or it's going to bring it closer to you. All right. But this grip button is also how I'm grabbing this laser pointer here. This is how you're going to grab, the skyrockets that they have in some places, those bean bags in the campfire, basically any kind of like real, object interaction. The grab button is going to help you, grab onto things. And, also those basketballs that I have around, one of my backup dancers can toss me out. We can maybe try this. Here we go. All right, cool. Let's see. You can try those here. Just give those a try. Toss them around. And if you've never used a grip button before, this is a good time to try that to see how it works. All right, so then toss those around a bit. Now, if you're having a room scale experience, meaning you're having a standing experience, sometimes you can walk out past your main menu, and that's usually the time when someone is going to say, hey, open your main menu, and you're going to look around for this thing. You're going to be like, where is this thing? And you're looking all over, and for some reason, it's like always behind you. It's important to remember that on an Oculus Quest, your main menu is in your hands at all times. This bottom button here, right on this left controller here, the flat button on toward the bottom, that button is actually your main menu. And when you press it, your main menu is going to open up in front of you. I like to combine that with like a hand flick motion. I sort of flick my hand out, my menu's open. I flick it again, my menu is closed. You don't have to do the hand flick thing. I just think it's cool. So if you ever lose your menu wheel, not to worry. It's always on your controller. And this is a great way to get your emoji panel back, and if you've ever, when you're having a room scale experience and you step beyond it. Now, oh, hey, Flips, how's it going? Flips is Altspace famous, and he's here to honor us with his presence today. What's going on? All right, so let's see. We're running without slides today, so we're kind of having to improvise a little bit. So, yeah, let's see. So, yeah, when you do that and you get your main menu back, also when I first came in Altspace on my Quest, I found that I was a lot taller than everybody. And I'm looking around and I'm like, when did the avatars get so short? Well, it turns out you have to worry about your vertical height on the Quest. If Bradley's willing to show me, Bradley, show everybody what happens when you press down on your left thumbstick. Boom, just like that. So if you feel like you're too tall or you're too short, all you do is just press down on your left thumbstick like it's a button, because it is. All right, so that'll take care of that. Also, on your right controller, next to the thumbstick, this top button right here is a teleport button. If you line up with me against a wall right here and you press and hold down on that teleport button, you're going to see a blue circle appear on the floor. This is your teleport target. Now, if you aim that target across the room, as soon as you let go, boom, you get flung right across the room at speed, right? Going to teleport over to me while there's still time, right? Now, if you squeeze your left trigger, this is going to cause you to accelerate or go faster if you're walking or flying. So, we can kind of go into a giant circle here. We don't have a lot of people here today, but we can still make this work. We're going to make a hurricane, everybody. Make it rain. Let's go into a big circle here. Let me see how you're doing. All right, big circles, people. Unless you're getting dizzy. If you're getting dizzy, you don't want to do that thing. Let me see how you're doing. All right, small crowd, but decent formation, got to say. That's pretty cool. All right. Not so much circular. It's sort of, all right, or I'll admit it, guys. It's kind of chaos. I'm just, I'm giving it to you. It's pretty good. Nice attempt, though. All right. Also, listen, if you're here today, you know some of the basics. Like you've got this left thumbstick move you around like this. You got the right thumbstick turns you in these circles. But when you combine them, you may not know is you get these big elaborate circles that make my presentation so much more dramatic. Everybody go ahead and give that a try, because when I look at it, it looks like you guys are ballroom dancing. All right, that's just fancy right there. Good job. Excellent. And I always say I wish you guys could see what this looks like up here, and now you can. If you look up in the air, you've got Raven Eye floating in the air. That's actually our YouTube camera. We usually post these up a couple weeks after we've had them in Altspace. So if you feel like being, VR famous, go ahead and wave on out to Raven Eye. You just got to be standing on the rug here if you want to be in the shot. We've got Flips in here. We've got JB. We've got Bradley. We've got Alina Beth, and we've got Tim, Hummingbird, Morgan Forrest, and Sylvester. There's a lot of people in here now. So come on in Altspace. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good time. All right, let's see what else we have here in terms of buttons and things we need to know about. Oh, yeah, there's now it's important to remember, too, that some of these buttons actually do the same thing. All right, so this right select button here, this bottom right trigger, and this left select button, if you have your left pointer enabled, right? What that's going to do, if you hold them down and don't let go, if you hold down your right trigger right now and move through the audience, that's how I know everybody's name so fast. You'll notice that a name tag appears over everybody when you point at them, right? And you can just move your arm back and forth, and all of a sudden you see these name tags just popping up just like that. It's a pretty cool effect. Good to know. When we were doing that fast running around and that teleport combination, you can actually combine these. Like if you face the stage like this and you hold down on that left accelerator button like that, right, and you go backwards and teleport at the floor, you can be doing the Altspace moonwalk, right, which hopefully is not a copyright violation like that, right? Another cool thing is one time you may notice I come down into the audience an awful lot, And this one time I came down into the audience like this, and I had to get back on the stage, and the audience was like surrounding me. They were getting in really close. And so what I did on reflex was I put my hand over my shoulder like that, and I teleported backwards, which it turns out you can do. You're always learning new stuff in Altspace, right? But you can do it right over your shoulder like that, backwards teleport, even while you're moving. Yeah, right. So it's pretty cool. You can combine things like that and get interesting results. Now, one of the first times I was messing around with this, I went to the Universe, and back then it was held in a very large world. And after, when the event was over, I started, went around to explore that world, and I went up right to the edge of that world, and I fell. And as I'm falling down, I look over, and there's this cliff off to the side. So I reached out and I teleported onto that cliff, boom, right to safety. It's not like you can get hurt in Altspace, but I was able to catch myself before I respawned. And that's when I knew I was finally getting used to the controllers. And you will too. It only takes a couple of days to like maybe a week or so. And there'll come a moment where you stop thinking about it. There's going to be a moment where even though you still always feel the plastic in your hands with the controllers, there's going to come a moment where these actually become your hands. And you'll just be here. You won't even think about it. Like if I tell everybody, hey, look out that window, I don't think about how I'm pointing. I just do it. It takes more effort to explain how I'm pointing. If you press down your middle finger on the side of the controller, on those side buttons there, your finger's going to go into a point. And when you do this, you can combine this in a variety of ways. Like you can give me a Brooklyn hello. Everybody give me a Brooklyn hello. Here we go. Very nice. Awesome. Very good. All right. Also, now, if you put them together like this, you can make the Altspace logo. Hold it up nice and high. Show me a little Altspace pride, people. Let me see. Oh, yeah, that feels good. That's nice. We got all that togetherness in here. Right. Now, you can spin them around like this, make kind of a picture frame. And then if you squeeze your index finger on the trigger, you can kind of snap it like a camera, right? How cool would that be if you could take screenshots like that? You'd be like, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, that's a great shot. That's a great shot. That's a great shot. And that'd be cool to do. Also, if you hold down your grip buttons and your trigger buttons, you give me 2 thumbs up. Let me know I'm doing a good job up here, right? Maybe I'm not, and give me 2 thumbs down like that. Or maybe you're not sure yet. Give me a little bit of both, right? And people have been coming up to stage a lot and they've been doing this. I don't know what that means, but they've been putting their hands together like this. That's something. All right. Also, what else you can do is if you touch your thumbs to the buttons or the thumbsticks without pressing down, you just touch them. You notice your thumbs are going to go down. You can combine this into a dance move, right? Just by alternating your thumbs just like that. That's pretty cool to do, right? And also, you do different dance moves. You can go like this. The important thing to remember is that when you see somebody doing something that you like, something that you think is cool, the best way to pick it up is by mirroring them. Like one of the first times we ever had, somebody came up to the stage and they started going like this, right? And I thought it was neat, so I did it back. And the audience saw me do this, and the whole audience started going like this. And I thought it was cool. It's really the best way to pick up gestures. When you see somebody doing something that you like, just by mirroring what they're doing, you just basically make it your own that way. All right, and that's a cool thing to keep in mind. All right, let's see what else we have. Now, there's an important button you need to remember here, and it's really the best route out of Altspace. Don't disappear. Don't press it now, because if you disappear, I'm going to feel it, right? But if you were to press this now, and don't, this flat button on your right controller, you got to think of this as your eject button. This is the best way out of Altspace, but this is also good to press when something goes wrong. All right, so if, I lost my slides here, okay, which really doesn't matter because you guys can't see the slides, but that's how I'm keeping my place. I'm acting like I still have them. Yeah, it's true. All right, so but yeah, when you press that button, it's good to press when something goes wrong. So if, for example, like I look over, if somebody comes in, like it's sort of like, hey, dinner's ready, then you just press that bottom button, you eject out of Altspace, you just press quit. But if you press it by accident, like you're dancing around the universe, and you accidentally press that button, just pressing resume will take you right back in. But if you press, if you intentionally doing it, like somebody comes in and says dinner's ready, and you're like, oh, gotta go. You just press that flat button, then you just press quit, and then it'll close your app. But this is also going to take care of a lot of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace. Like if you look over there and then all of a sudden you turn your head back and the whole world moves with you, that can make you feel really dizzy in VR. So it pays to know how to get out quick when that happens. So you just hit that bottom eject button and then you just press quit and restart the app, and that's going to take care of most everything. But occasionally, something more serious might happen. Like if I look over to the left and I see there's a black void on the edge of my screen, I'm like, oh, the black void is back. And then I look to the right and I look up and I look down and I'm surrounded by this black void. And all of a sudden, all my friends are frozen in space, all dramatic, like, right? Now I know something's gone seriously wrong. So I press that eject button and nothing happens. Right. And I'm like, uh-oh, Michael Forrest lied to me. I'm going to have my revenge one day. But that's not what's going on. What's going on is your device froze. And that can happen not just in Altspace, but in other apps as well. So if that should happen to you, the best way to deal with this is to restart your device. But listen, when I first got my Quest, I would take my headset off to restart it. And the problem with this is if it's plugged in and it's not in a charge cycle and that charge light isn't lit up, there's no power light, and it can take a while, especially when you're rushed to restart the device, you may get to thinking like I did that there's something wrong with your device. So it's good to get into the habit of restarting your headset while it's still on your head when you need to. And the way you do this is you take your index finger and you swipe it along the side of your device till you feel that raised up power button. Now you take your left hand, the index finger there, and create kind of a counterbalance on the other side. I find it helps to look down in a deep concentration pose. You squeeze those fingers together, and after about 3 or 4 seconds, you concentrate so hard, your avatar disappears and you get plunged into the darkness, but you don't let go. You just hang on. You ride that out. After about 10 seconds, you start wondering, man, why did Oculus make it take so long? I don't know. 15 seconds go by, you start thinking about friends and family you haven't seen in a while. 20 seconds go by, you start thinking about life. You start asking the big questions, right? And then after about 20 something seconds, all of a sudden, out of the darkness, the Oculus logo appears like the bat signal. And when it starts to pulse, you just move your fingers away, just like that. And once you do, the device is going to start normally, and this is going to take care of most of the problems that you're going to have, not just in Altspace, but in other apps as well. Occasionally, when something more serious happens, it pays to know about the factory reset. But listen, you only use this in extreme emergencies because you're going to lose all of your apps. You're going to have to re-download all of them. The good news is you won't have to pay for them again, but you will have to, reinstall them. If you have any pictures saved on your device, you're going to lose those. An example of why you'd want to use this is one time I came out of Altspace and there was this notice on my screen that said, Oculus Room is closing, and Oculus Home is closing, and there was this blue button to press OK. It was the only option, so being the only option, I said OK. Now, once I pressed OK, what happened was the screen just said loading, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. So I waited around for a minute, right? 2 minutes. 2 minutes became 3, and I knew something was wrong. So I went into my deep concentration pose. I did that, right? After I came out of that and I restarted, and the screen still said loading, and I'm like, uh-oh. So I went and I asked my good friend Google about it, and Google said a lot of people were having this problem, and the best thing you can do is a factory reset. Now, when you do the factory reset, it puts the device back the way it was the day you got it, right? So you will have to lose, your pictures that are saved. You'll have to re-download everything. Again, you won't have to pay for anything, but you will lose like your preferences and stuff. So you may, serious business, you might even lose your Beat Saber scores. All right, so that's very important. You don't want to lose those, because then you're going to have to fight all your friends again. You're going to have to struggle for dominance one more time, and you want to keep that going. All right, so now, so it pays to keep that in mind. Now, listen, if you're here today, you are already familiar with the Guardian system because you've done the tour. You've danced with the robot. You played with the blimp. It was a lot of fun, right? But what you may not be familiar with is how to use the Guardian system to your advantage in Altspace. But before I tell you how to do that, when you're moving around in VR, especially when you're new, it pays to lead with your hands. Because when you're walking around your space, you see this a lot in Altspace. Somebody will be walking along, they're having a good day, then all of a sudden, bam, they hit a wall. Those real-world walls are a menace in VR, and they need to be stopped. We need to band together and do something about it. Down with those real-world walls, all right? But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to lead with your hands. And when you get up close to the edge of your space, you're going to see that grid appears in the air in front of you, right? But what you can do is remember something. Like if I walk up to my real-world wall right now, put my hands out, lead with my hands, and I get real close to it, and that grid appears, you have to remember, now at this point, I can still touch my thumbstick. So I can move my avatar around in VR while my real-world, wall is still right in front of me, all right? So I can line up my real-world wall with what's left of my display here. Because I used to have my slides. I don't have them anymore. I'm kind of bitter about it. But I can line it up with that wall, and then I can back up from it and take it all in and be like, wow, that's perfect. And it creates an anchor. I've fallen off the stage, and now I'm in the audience. Now, I don't have a big crowd today, so you guys are going to have to help me out. Come over here and stick your hands in my face and try to make me dizzy. Just mess me up. Do the worst you can. Now, as long as I can still see what's left in my display, I'm not going to lose my place. I'm not going to have any trouble talking. You'll see I'm not losing any words. I'm completely comfortable. And the reason is because I feel connected to the real world. It gives me a frame of reference. And I'm somebody who gets dizziness in VR. If that doesn't work for you, right, you can also do something smaller. You don't need to do something big like what's left of my display. You can use the edge of the stage here to line this up with a real world table or a real world desk. And this is going to create like a reality anchor. It's going to make you feel connected to the real world. And I'm going to teleport backwards again because I can. All right. So let's see. What else do we have here? Also, when you do that and you have that bridge, another thing that can help with dizziness, and even if you're not on a Quest, this will help you if you get dizziness in VR. If you look at your hand, take a good look at your hand, right? Just focus on that hand when you feel that dizziness. And as soon as that dizziness starts to pass, you just slowly take that hand away and take in the world around you. And that will really help. And really having these focal points will really help with the dizziness if you're someone who gets that. All right. Also, let's see, you can switch effortlessly between a standing experience and a stationary experience in VR. All right, in Altspace. What you want to do is, like, let's say that, go up to the edge of the Guardian, right? And making sure I got enough space for my head to go through. And when I move my head through, the pass-through camera goes off, right? Now, under experimental features, they have this thing where you can just double tap the headset and you'll be able to see the real world. So I go tap, tap, and now I can see the real world. I got my coffee mug right here. I take a sip of that and I throw it down because, well, that's kind of messy, but, I'm really making a mess when I do that. I got to change that bit. And then I see I've got my chair over here, and I go on over to my chair and I turn around. I go to sit down in my chair, and there's a blue button in front of me asking me if I want to have a stationary experience. I press that blue button, and I find when that grid pops up that not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. The only difference is my avatar is down here now, and I just press down on that left thumbstick, and I'll pop right back up, and it'll be like I never left. All right. It works in the other direction too. There was one time I was moderating an event, and as I was moderating, I felt like getting up and walking around. It's a big deal to me, so I figured I'd just get up and walk into my space, right? But sometimes your quest can lose your boundary, and you'll have to redraw it. And you figure it's no big deal, because sometimes due to changing light level or for one reason or another, can't resolve where it is in your space. So, it asks you to draw a new space, but when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's a very big deal. So I start drawing out my boundary really quick. I'm drawing down. I'm like, why is my space so huge? I don't know. And flips of all the days I had to moderate for an admin. Why did it have to be today? Why? And as soon as my grid closes up, as soon as I finish the boundary, the grid comes up out of the ground. And I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. So you can do this in either direction, from standing to stationary, without ever leaving Altspace, and this will allow you to be comfortable. Just remember that when you make these changes, you will have to adjust the vertical height by pressing down on that left thumbstick. All right, and that'll take care of that. Now, one of the great things about the Quest is it just works. And this doesn't mean it can't work better. You're going to know there's a variety of accessories that are available for the Quest that can make the experience better. Like those earbuds that hang down from the sides that kind of dangle like VR earrings. I don't know what I look like when I'm in VR, but when I got these on, I like to think I look fancy. And the first time I tried them out, I wasn't expecting much because the sound on the Quest is pretty great. So I went to the campfire to try these out. And you know what? There's a breeze in the campfire. I've been in Altspace for like a year and a half, and nobody ever told me there was a breeze in the campfire. I went over to the fence over there, and there was this water rushing by, and I'd never heard that before. It turns out there's a lot of really deep immersive sounds, ambient sounds in Altspace that can really make you feel like you're in here more, and that's really what it's all about. Also, listen, Oculus doesn't do enough to advertise this, but there's a breaking in period for your headset. Or a lot of people, you'll hear this a lot. They'll say the Quest is so uncomfortable. And in the beginning, I was one of them because I got a sore on my forehead from wearing it. It turns out, though, that in a couple to a few weeks, the oils in your face will actually soften the insert, and the springs will loosen their tension so that the balance on the Quest will actually shift, right? But if you react to it too quickly, right, when you first get the device, and you're like, this is so uncomfortable, but I'm going to fix it. I'm going to improvise something. I'm going to get a counterbalance weight. I'm going to get an external battery pack. I'm going to get some kind of, assistance device, and they're going to do things that are going to change the balance. But the problem is, after a couple of weeks, when the device is broken in, the balance is going to shift again. And then when that happens, people are going to, be left with the impression that the Quest is just uncomfortable. I've known people that have actually returned it because of this, and it's just because Oculus really doesn't advertise the breaking in period. After the break period, if you find it still uncomfortable, that's the time to do that. So after a couple to a few weeks of use, if you find it still uncomfortable, that's the time to get the counterbalance weights, the external battery packs, or they have these inserts from VR Cover that's really nice. It feels like you got a face in a pillow. They're very nice. That comes with 2 of them too, because this way you can wash one while the other one's in use, and that'll make it more hygienic. That's really great. Another thing that they have available is those prescription inserts. If you wear eyeglasses, listen, if you scratch your eyeglasses and you scratch your VR headset, that can get pretty expensive pretty quickly. So these inserts, these prescription inserts, really help with that. And speaking of protecting your device, the box that the Quest comes in is fantastic. But one of those travel cases is going to be really good if you're moving around a lot. Those are good to have for that. And if you'd like to try any of these kind of accessories, you can find them by going to altvr.com and going in the upper left where it says channels. And when you click on that link, you'll see all these wonderful Altspace event channels before you. And while the admins tell me it doesn't mean anything, down toward the very bottom, and again, it means nothing, you'll see Ravenhall events like it says on the sound booth up there. And when you click on that, you get taken to our event page. And on our event page, on the left-hand side, you're going to see all these products listed out there if you'd like to try any of them out. Also, there's a Join Discord button if you'd like to say hello. We have a lot of fun over there. This is also where we set up our events if you'd ever like to help out. Also, on the top right, it's the most important button on the internet ever, right? It's a subscribe button. And when you press it, lets us know that lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content. And we don't get paid to do this. So whenever we see that number go up, it means the world to us. It means even more when we see our YouTube subscribers go up. And if you are watching out on YouTube, you will find links to these products in the description below. Also, now we're going to be opening up for questions and comments. But before I do that, I want to make you all aware that this Wednesday, we're doing a premiere or a preview of one of an upcoming event that we have. It's a game show where you can where you can win kits and prizes. We call it Shark Time. It's got an interactive set. It's pretty fun. It's not a live featured event yet, so you'll have to go in the all category to really see it, but it's worth checking out Wednesday night. So, stop by if you'd like. All right. We're also going to try at this point. You're going to see in your lower right a raise hand button appear as if by magic, because that's what magic looks like in VR. And if you have a question or a comment, just press that raise hand button and we'll get you on the air, and I'll get to feel like the radio host. All right, let's see. We have Loss69. You're on the air. What's going on, Loss? Where are you, Loss? I don't see you.
Can you hear me? Yo, I'm here.
I can hear you. I see you. What's going
Okay.
on? In the red. What's going on, Les? Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds very distressing. Okay. Was that all? Good luck. Okay. All right. I think you might be trying to have some fun there, but this is probably not the place for that. All right. Let's see. We also have Tim. Tim, you're on the air. What's going on, Tim?
Hi, I have a question about when you go in to the people aspect and you see everybody who's here today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you click on the here and you can see who's here with you. And some people
Okay.
have real pictures and logos, and some just have, like myself, a letter. How do you
Yes.
change that to actually a picture or a logo
If
or
you go
something
to
different?
if you go to altvr.com, right, and you log in your account there, in the upper right, you're going to see there's going to be your account information, and you can pull down and select your profile. And in that section is there an area where you'll be able to upload a picture to represent yourself, and you'll see it in VR next to your name. You also see it on the website. All right, so that'll take care of that. And the
Thank you.
default for that is the first letter of your username or your display name. Actually, I believe it might be your username, might be a display name. I'm not sure, but it is a letter. It's definitely a letter. Okay, so let's see. So we have that's it for the questions. It seems like if you have any further questions, we'll take them at the Ravenhall Flight Academy where we teach you guys to fly. Now, ordinarily, we have this really cool effect where there's this button on the wall, and when we press it, there's a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft that flies down the street and it comes up over those trees and it lands in the yard, and that's where we meet it to take it out. It is a really cool effect, but we don't have it available today. It will be back in a few days, so come back and check that out. It's definitely worth seeing. But in the meantime, I've taken off the stage blocker. And if you guys want to join me at the Ravenhill Flight Academy, come on up to the stage here and we'll take a trip outside here. You'll see we got a portal set up here. We're just walking in that portal and head on out. And thanks for coming, everybody. And I'll see you all next time. And I'll see you at the Ravenhill Flight Academy. Come on out, everybody. Let's just unmute everybody in case anybody wants to talk. There we go. Follow flips on into that portal. Just walk into that blue light. And I'll see you next time.